Hello and welcome back to Stories from the River. I'm Heather Greenwood, filling in today for Charlie Maloof, and I'm back to talk to you about a really important initiative at Broad River Retail, our Memory Makers Helping Memory Makers initiative.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
So I'm joined today by Emelyne Henderson. Emelyne, welcome back to the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we look a little bit different and festive today as we're here to talk about Operation 'Tis the Season. Now, you and I were here several months ago, joined by our friend Jessie Hatley, to talk a little bit about this initiative, and we talked about Operation Magic School Bus, our back to school initiative. So for our listeners at home who may not have seen that episode or seen you on the podcast before, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Broad River.
I can do that. My name is Emelyne Henderson. I've worked at Broad River for 5 years now, currently as a Memory Maker Experience Manager, but I started as an intern in learning and development, and our team has just grown since then. And the Memory Maker Experience team is very important to me. I love what I get to do. I think it's a very unique role, and I get to be a part of making our memory makers lives and work lives a little bit better. And so I take that very seriously, and I love being able to do that.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me again and for all you do for the memory makers back at Broad River on the Memory Maker Experience team. Now, as a little bit of a pivot, not a lot of companies have a Memory Maker Experience team.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is the Memory Maker Experience team? What do we do every day?
That's a loaded question. So the Memory Maker Experience team really takes care of the memory maker from when they join Broad River and throughout their career journey with Broad River. So it encompasses onboarding, learning and development, true memory maker experience, so engagement, recognition, celebration. So our team encompasses a lot of different things, but all focused on our memory makers and our employees, and how we can make a more fulfilling career journey for them.
Awesome. Great. So today, again, we're talking Memory Makers Helping Memory Makers. And this program or initiative spans a lot of different avenues.
Mhm.
So we talked about Operation Magic School Bus, and today we're back kind of where this all began with Operation 'Tis the Season. This is where this initiative kicked off a few years ago. So tell us about the history of this program.
So this program started in 2021, and it was really brought to us by a memory maker who said, "Hey, there's people on my team that could really use support this holiday season." And we all know how challenging the holidays can be, whether you have kids or not. You want to give and you want people to feel, that holiday spirit, but there's also funds and money that comes along with that. And so when that memory maker came to us, we started thinking through ideas of ways that we could support those memory makers who did need a little extra help. And so we really thought of this idea of like a giving tree, like you see, or an angel tree where you go and you pick an ornament and you buy a toy for a child. And so we did that in 2021, not really knowing what to expect since it was our first time ever doing something like that, not really knowing how much need there was. And so we did it our first year. And I think we had over 20 families that participated. And then the most wonderful thing about this program is that it's internal. And so it's memory makers supporting memory makers. So any memory maker can sign up to be a part of it. And then any memory maker can also donate items or gift cards or things like that to support and uplift each other.
I love it. So tell us a little bit specifically to this program. How do memory makers participate, whether they might need some assistance or whether they just want to help out? What does that look like internally?
Right. So every year, towards the end of the year, near the holidays, we will send out a needs request form. And so any memory maker that has a need for the holiday, whether that's gifts or a holiday meal, they can fill out that form, and then we'll collect those on the back end. That form is completely confidential, and really very few people see it, just to make sure that memory maker's information stays within a small group and that's not shared. So they can submit that confidential form, and then we will collect kind of a list of their needs. So what gifts their kids like, their favorite color, their age, and we'll put those on our tree. And then other memory makers can pick a tag off a tree that will say, 7-year-old girl loves Barbies and race cars. And they can then go to the store and purchase that and donate it. And then we also have an Amazon wish list. So our memory makers that are remote or maybe too far regionally to bring gifts to the physical office, they can buy gifts through the Amazon wish list as well. And then also we have memory makers donate wrapping paper and tape and things like that that cost additional funds. So we'll have them donate that way as well.
I love it. So, year 3, we're in the
Mhm.
process right now. It kicked off a few weeks ago. So, year 3, now, what have you seen that has changed year over year? Anything that surprises you or has made an impact on you over the past 3 years?
The thing that surprises me most is just the growth of the program. So I think with more awareness of it, there just comes more need. And so we've seen the program grow and the amount of families we've been able to support grow since 2021. This year, it's doubled. So, and then I think the thing that surprises me the most is that even in that first year with 20 families, I was so nervous. I was like, how are we going to be able to get all the gifts and the food and support everyone? And it's just every single time, it's more than enough. It's more than we need that gets donated. And so I think the biggest thing year over year for me is just seeing how our memory makers show up, and that there's always enough, even though I get nervous. And then two, what I love about it on my end of it is just seeing the kids grow year over year. So we do have some families that repeat, some that don't. But those ones that we do see year over year, it's interesting to see the 12-year-old go from 12, 13 to 14 and how their interests change and things like that. So that's always good fun for me to see too.
Yeah, I think about every year we run this program and the number gets bigger and there's some excitement in that. There's
Hmm.
some kind of some feelings around that. It gets bigger and there's always that natural fear. Can we support them? Will they have enough? Will they have that great meal? Will we have everything they need? And I think there's always kind of those final days where we're looking at the tree and the ornaments are still there and we're getting nervous and things haven't come in. And it always comes to fruition so
Hmm.
beautifully, and just really makes a bigger impact than I think we even know year over year going into it. We want to make a big impact, but what actually comes to light, it's amazing to see this community of memory makers that truly come together and really shine.
Hmm.
So you and I have been a part of this since day one, since that very first idea came to us and some natural nerves about whether or not we were going to execute this. So what does this program really mean to you? And then what does this program mean to our memory makers that you've interacted with over the few years?
I will tell anyone, and I've said it multiple times, I think this is the most important program that I'm a part of, and it's my favorite program to be a part of at Broad River. Um, I think that there's so much good in being able to help people when they need it and where they need it. And I have the privilege being on the back end and seeing the, requests that come in of hearing their stories about what this means to them and why it's so important. And, you know, sometimes things just happen in life, surgeries that were unexpected, sickness that's unexpected, layoffs that are unexpected. And memory makers will say, my husband got laid off, my husband got sick, things happen, or I got sick and wasn't able to work. So then being able to support them in that way when life happens is so meaningful. And I think about the magic of the holidays, and what I felt when I was little and what I see my nieces and nephews experience now. And to be able to help support that little bit of magic for those kids or those parents too. I think about the parents watching their kids get to open those gifts on Christmas morning or whatever holiday they celebrate. Um, and just being able to be a part of that is so special.
Yeah, we think about, you said when life happens. And so we think about this program. It's not a one size fits all.
Mhm.
It's not a you may or you may not participate. We understand, and I think a really important part of our culture is understanding that you may need help. If not today, it may be a year from
Mhm.
now, it may be 2 years from now, and we want all people to know that they're welcome and all people to know that we're there to support them. Part of furnishing life's best memories is furnishing life's best memories first internally with our 900 plus memory makers and those little memory makers
Mhm.
at home who, you're right, I think about my own kids and the holidays are coming and everything is magical and everything they're excited about and they wake up looking forward to. And everybody wants to be able to deliver on that and wants
Mhm.
to be able to make magic happen. And so we play a small part and hopefully being able to create a lot of magical moments for many memory makers at Broad River.
Right.
So we talk a lot about community, an internal community of memory makers. Now, yes, as an MMX team, we run this program and there's a lot of behind the scenes that happens that no one knows about, hopefully. And we try to do a really good job at that. But there's a lot of people that
Mhm.
come together for programs like these and a lot of people who are unsung heroes in this. So tell us a little bit about what that community looks like and how they pull together to not only meet the demand, but exceed the demand.
I'm so glad that you asked that question, because a lot of people don't see it, but it takes a lot of work to run a program like this. And, my team, Ariel and Jordan, have already done a lot in preparation. But then when it goes to organizing all the gifts that come in, our goal is to have at least 3 gifts per child. And typically we see a lot more than that come in thanks to our memory makers. So that's 300 gifts we're organizing. So not only my team, but Craig and Chris in Four Oaks help a lot with this, collecting the gifts there. Jesse at the front desk in Fort Mill is awesome in helping us collect and organize those gifts. We see our retail leaders often going to stores, collecting gifts from stores so that our stores can participate and bringing those into our Fort Mill or Four Oaks offices. Um, Even with our Amazon wish list, I see things come in from CX all the time, from our finance team. So people supporting that way as well. So it takes a lot of hands to organize and then distribute all of the gifts. And so I'm really thankful for everyone that has an opportunity to participate, big or small. And one of the coolest things I think I see about our community through this program is that even those who've signed up to receive support, they can get one gift or they'll bring in one roll of wrapping paper so that they're still supporting our internal community with what they can. And I love to see that too. Like not only do they receive, but they're also going to give back. And so I love the way that all of that works together. And I appreciate anyone who has the opportunity to participate in the program.
It's amazing. More and more involvement year over year. I think of the day the very first email went out, and we were very intentional this year to send it earlier than we ever have and get it on people's radar. And one of our new memory makers, Allie, who works on the
Hmm.
finance team, literally, I saw that email, and 2 seconds later, I had an email from her in my inbox, and it said,
Hmm.
"Hey, Heather, I'm remote, but I want to help. What can I do?"
Hmm.
And I just love that excitement and that passion and that care, and love that I was able to say, hey, hold tight. We have
Hmm.
an Amazon wish list coming. You send it directly to our Fort Mill corporate office and you too can participate. So
Hmm.
we found ways that every single memory maker, whether you're in a store, a DC, you're hybrid, you're remote, can participate and support one another, which is exciting. Now, tell me a little bit about pickup day. We talk about what this looks like. So I've submitted my needs request. I've given you some ideas around my kids or my significant other. Now that pickup day is really critical to our process. What does that look like and what does it feel like?
So we do pick up days, usually the week before Christmas, and we will have pre-organized all of the gifts into kind of family numbers because we keep it confidential. The families are organized by number, and then we always are in communication with the families ahead of time. We let them know the pickup date, the location, they come. We always do an offsite location just because we know that this can be a little harder to ask for help around the holidays. So we do an offsite location near our corporate offices that they can come and pick up those gifts. And we try to make it fun. We do, the bags that we use are all holiday themed. We play some holiday music. Heather and I will get our holiday headbands out to wear. So we have a lot of fun with it. And we try to make it really comfortable and a lot of fun for them to come pick up those gifts. And I feel like usually the feeling from memory makers and of myself is just like almost overwhelmed. Like I said, we always receive more support than we have needed. So it's just like gratitude and just like overwhelmed with it is the typical feeling. So it's a great day to be a part of.
It's a great day. It's
Mhm.
probably one of my favorites.
Mhm.
I think of every year being at the offsite location. Last year in Fort Mill, I was with Angela on our team, and we were decked out and we were ready to go. But I think of that day and how many hugs
Mhm.
and how many just great stories.
Mhm.
As people come in to collect these presents, they're so overwhelmed. We say three is kind of our
Yeah.
number. I don't think I've ever seen somebody walk out with just three
No.
gifts. They're so overwhelmed, and then they'll tell you stories about the kids, whether it
Mhm.
be niece and nephew, whether it be this is a grandparent and they're supporting their grandchildren. They tell you about the kids. They're peeking in the bags. They're
Mhm.
excited, and we don't wrap them, which I
Right.
love too, so they can see what is that doll that I'm about to give, or the soccer ball, or whatever it may be. And so you just see them as they kind of dig through the bags,
Mhm.
and they're excited to be able to share this with their family. And no feeling is better than that. Just being
Mhm.
able to hug them and hold them and wish them well
Mhm.
and just show them we do care. We do care. And in moments where you need us, we're going to be there for you.
Mhm.
So, from our last episode, we kind of have to have like a fun fact or an icebreaker. Last episode, we talked about office supplies, and I got an overwhelming amount of mechanical pencils delivered to my office after that episode. So today, we're in the holiday spirit. I know we've already decorated our homes. Maybe we rushed the season, and I had a peppermint latte today. What is your best Broad River holiday memory?
There's so many good ones. I think being a part of this program is probably my best memory. I love being a part of pickup days. But then also, I just love the moments with our teams. So we'll usually do little team holiday parties with like a secret Santa, and just seeing like the gifts people choose for people and how like personal they are and how well they know each other. I think is really meaningful for me.
It's such a good feeling to celebrate with each other. When I was very new at Broad River, it might have been my first Thanksgiving here, and still a little bit kind of unsure of who the company was and what the culture was. But I remember the very first time that I served a holiday meal in our distribution center.
Mhm.
And Lynn Knowles, who's our director of merchandising, Lynn was also new. We started at the same time. And I remember going to the DC, our distribution center, and serving that holiday meal and
Mhm.
just talking to people. And again, the amount of thank yous, I couldn't believe it. Everybody reaching across and hugging and saying thank you. And we filled up to-go boxes, and they took those home for their families that night. And just to know that my company was doing that, and that they really not only said that people are the most important thing, but showed it.
Mhm.
And it continued holiday after holiday after holiday, which is why I'm still here and I
Mhm.
still love Broad River, is because we show up and we care about people. And so
Mhm.
furnishing life's best memories, it happens every day, but maybe people may need it a little more at times than other times.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up today's episode, thank you again for joining me. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners about this initiative, about Operation 'Tis the Season or Memory Makers helping memory makers that you think they should know?
Yeah, I think we're always wanting to support our memory makers whatever best way we can. So if there's a need that we don't know about, like please bring that to us. That's how Operation Tis the Season started. So we want to know how we can help and where we can support and where the need is. And then just don't be afraid to ask for help. I receive messages from managers saying like, "Hey, I really think my memory maker needs this, but they don't want to sign up. They think that someone else has more need than them." Um, so don't be afraid to ask. We want to support you. And like I said, life happens and
Mhm.
everyone experiences it sometimes. So don't be afraid to ask for support. And then just thank you to everyone that's a part of this program. I know that there's so many people that impact the ability to do this year over year. And just so grateful for everyone that donates, participates, helps us collect gifts, all of those things. We couldn't do it without that community.
Absolutely. It takes a village. We
Mhm.
hear that all the time. So, from me, thank you to
Mm.
you for all that you do to drive initiatives like this, to care for our memory makers, to make it so much bigger than it could ever be. What I love most about you is your heart for our people. And I think that's what makes you so special. Thank you to everyone involved in our program, to Charlie and Manny,
Yeah.
who allow us to take these crazy ideas and grow them year over year. No limits, no barriers. Just take care of our people people and take care of them well. To everyone at home, thank you so much for listening. A very, very happy holidays. Have fun. Be safe. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.